Would AEW and Tony Khan really do this with Britt Baker? Well, that is a question in which I'm going to answer in today's video, because Britt Baker has not been seen on AEW television in an in-ring action since the Dynamite on November 13th. Now, you know the song and dance, because at a time in which AEW is not using Britt Baker on television, fans also should not expect to see her in WWE either. Now, let's take it back. Wade Keller of PW Torch first reported that Baker was in the same situation, or is in the same situation as others who are not being used by the promotion. Now, the belief is that Tony Khan is fed up enough with Britt Baker that he's simply just not using her, and should that change, she'll get the call. Now, it has also been noted that WWE is not under the impression that she will be available anytime soon, nor is she expected to be back on AEW television imminently. Now, Dave Meltzer has reported that Baker is simply not done with the promotion yet, and Fightful Select Sean Ross Sapp noted that she has about a year and a half left on her deal. Now, they could add more time if they added time due to missed, right, with injuries and illness. Now, keep in mind that Britt Baker, once upon a time, was AEW's biggest female star, yet she has fallen to the wayside. Now, keep in mind that this is not all AEW's fault. Britt Baker does have a hand in her current situation, in which she is being used in the way that she has been seen within the company. You go back to reported backstage issues with other talent, her being very territorial with her position as a top star, which I can't necessarily blame her, because that's the whole point of being in pro wrestling. You want to make it to the top, you want to be the main event star, you want to make more money than anyone else, and in order to do so, you have to protect that spot. I mean, Hulk Hogan wrote the book on that. Then there was also the incident with MJF, her talking trash about him in the female locker room. His girlfriend, Alicia Tout, went to him, told him that. He confronted her. She got suspended for a week. And then even before then, she was off television for the longest time, injury, as well as suffering a mini stroke, which is terrible at her age. And that has all led to this time. All of this has been something in which has been brewing. It's been brewing in the background, because even though she was a top star for AEW for many, many years in the early going, and helped them get through the pandemic and really kept that division afloat, they've brought in a ton of talent that has really surpassed her in that regard. Now, in regards to today's video, I was thinking to myself, okay, she hasn't been used since November. As recording of this video, it's mid-February. There's no clear sign that she's going to be returning anytime soon. She has a year and a half left on her deal. The likes of Ricky Starks and Miro and Malachi Black and others, Ray Phoenix, they were just put on the shelf. Now, obviously, a lot of those, your Ray Phoenix, or your Miros and your Malachi Blacks and your Ricky Starks, they got their walking papers. Britt Baker did not. So, would AEW really have her sit out for an entire year, a year and a half plus, before giving her her release? Yes. Yes, they would, because I think they believe that if they get her to go, if they give her her walking papers, she's going to walk right into WWE. Ethan Page has done that. Lexis King has done that. Stephanie Valker obviously was not under contract with AEW, but she had a strong performance against, Mercedes Moné at Forbidden Door. She walked to WWE. Obviously, Ricky Starks is now in WWE. Malachi Black and Miro are expected to go back to WWE. So I think they are not going to let this woman out of her deal. And I think if you're a Britt Baker, you have to realistically go, okay, I have two options. And so far, she's taken option number one, which is just to sit at home, continue to be her dentist, be a dentistry actor, or be in dentistry, and go with that and collect a paycheck, and you move on with your life, right? You just kind of wait for time. You collect a check for not doing anything. And when your time comes, then you can go to WWE, or you can go to wherever you want to go, right? The other option, and I think this is what she should do, I think she should actually take a playbook, or a page out of Ricky Starks' playbook. I also think Ray Phoenix should do this. I think she needs to start working indies. Not your mom and pop indies where you're running, gymnasiums for 50 people. go to, House of Glory, or go overseas to Progress, or um, go and work the bigger type indies where you get a buzz. Make an appearance in GCW if you want to. Like, get a buzz around you, start working matches, start getting your face out there and reminding people, hey, Britt Baker's still under contract with AEW. Why are they not using her? It's like, she's doing all these great promos, she's doing all these great matches, right? Get those reps, get the cobwebs and ring rust off of you, so that way if AEW does call, you're ready. And if you get your walking papers and you can go straight to WWE and do big things. That is what I would suggest to Britt Baker. I think realistically, Britt Baker is going to be under contract with AEW for the next year and a half, if not longer. And it's at a point where you cannot go, well, Tony Khan is screwing over Britt Baker and AEW is screwing over Britt Baker. And to a degree they are, but at the same time, this is a two-way street. There are two sides to the story. And if Britt Baker has had all of these backstage issues, and if all of those are true, and if Tony Khan is fed up with her, then she needs to right that ship. She needs to make good with those people, or she needs to start getting some more positivity out there. Because what was the whole thing with Ricky Starks? What's the whole thing with Ray Phoenix? Everyone has sympathy for them. They're like, these guys are very, very talented. They're professional. They handle themselves very well, and yet AEW is the big bad monopoly, type company and figure in Tony Khan, and like they're screwing these people over, and these people are just trying to make a living, right? She doesn't have that sympathy because there's been so much negativity around her and reported about her. And I think if you look at it from that vantage point, if you're a Britt Baker, you got to know that, you got to realize that, and more importantly, you got to change that. And so if I'm offering Britt Baker advice, that would be it. Go out there, change the narrative, get your face back out in front of the fans and on social media and on streaming services, and get your name built back up. Get your name built up to the point where WWE has no other choice but to sign you. And I understand there's people out there, well, she's a dentist. How would she be able to go to WWE if she's a dentist? I've said this once, I'll say it again. She's made it very publicly clear that she's not a typical dentist. Like, you cannot go down to her practice and just walk in and boom, she's your dentist. She has a private clientele. She has a very select clientele, and she has remained like that because her wrestling career is her first priority. And so if that's the case, then she can work around WWE's schedule, which is greatly reduced. They're not running weekend house shows every single week. They're not doing that 57 weeks a year. So times have changed. But yeah, Britt Baker, she needs to do something and do it fast.